宾杰瑞·卡普兰先生，给大家介绍一下，杰瑞·卡普兰先生是来自 Stanford 的顶尖人工智能专家。他不仅开创了平板电脑和智能手机的先河，还设计了世界上第一台笔触式的计算机。而他呢，不仅仅是一位科学家，同时他也是一位创业者。他是被称为硅谷传奇的连续创业家，分别创立了全球第一家在线拍卖公司 On Sale， 还有极具影响力的社交游戏网站 Winster 的。另外呢，他还有一本著作叫做《人工智能时代》，在中间呢，他阐述了他对于人工智能自己的一些独到的见解。那接下来呢，我们就有请卡普兰先生带来他的主题演讲：创业、创新和技术的未来。Let's welcome Mr. Jerry Kaplan. Welcome.
So greetings from Silicon Valley. It's such a thrill for me to visit Jiaxing and to participate in this important meeting because it brings together two of my favorite topics, entrepreneurship and technical innovation. I'm very grateful to my hosts for inviting me. It's a special honor for me to have this opportunity to speak with you today, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I plan to cover quite a bit of ground in my talk today. So I'd like to give you some insight into what makes a successful entrepreneur. Then we'll explain my approach to finding an innovative business concept. I'm going to focus on artificial intelligence, called AI for short, as an example, and describe two uses of this new technology that I believe will have the greatest impact. And I'll close with a few suggestions for how the Chinese government can light the path to a better future with policies that can accelerate the adoption of artificial intelligence technology. Now, as you may know, thank you for the introduction, I've been an entrepreneur and inventor for a very long time. I'm quite old. And as one of the earliest Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, I co-founded 4 companies over the past 40 years. Now, 2 of those companies were public, and one became what is now called a unicorn, meaning it had a valuation in excess of $1 billion. Now, my companies developed the first tablet computer, the first online auction, among other innovations. And during this long history, I've learned many lessons, some of which I would like to share with you today. Now, these are lessons that you don't typically read about in books, but I hope that my experience can help those of you who are running startup companies or are thinking about founding one. Now, Chinese society differs in many significant ways from the United States, of course. So my advice may or may not apply to you. I recommend that you be very selective and very thoughtful, applying my ideas to your life. My number one piece of advice for new entrepreneurs is to first find an idea that you're excited about and then decide whether you want to start a company. Now, it's important to do those things in the correct order. Just as in a marriage, you're better off falling in love first and then deciding to get married, rather than deciding to get married first and then shopping around for a suitable spouse. Your excitement about an idea, just like your love for your spouse, will get you through hard times much better than your wish to start a company or your wish to be married. Another lesson I've learned was in starting a company is like raising a child. Its needs change at each stage of development. The most fun part for me was always at the beginning, when I could focus on making an idea into a reality without the distraction of customers and markets and production schedules and budgets. But as my companies grew, their needs changed. I had to learn to become an executive, a salesperson, a recruiter, and even an office manager, in addition to developing a product or a service. Now, in each case, I had to turn my duties over to people who were better than I was at each of these different tasks. So just like a parent's relationship with their child, your relationship to your company will change over time. Learning to let go and to allow more talented and experienced people to take over at each growth stage is one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn. The good news here is that you don't have to be good at everything. In fact, you don't even have to be good at anything. You simply have to be able to persuade talented people to join you in the mission that you have undertaken. And once you do that, your job is to make sure that they have the resources they need and to otherwise stay out of their way. And this is what the government here in Jiaxing is trying to help you to do. Now, a fellow entrepreneur once told me that his ambition in life was to become a vice president at his own company. Now, he said that as a joke, but his meaning was clear. He understood that he wasn't the best person for every job at his company. Now, lesson number 4. Well, how do you attract these talented people? You don't do that by telling them how great you are, but instead by convincing them of the power of your idea. No one wants to follow a leader who is only looking out for themselves. Instead, they want a leader who inspires them to be their best and is ready to share the credit for the company's success. But the most important skill a good entrepreneur needs to know is to know themselves. They must understand what they're good at and what they're not good at, because this self-knowledge allows them to know when they should turn over the responsibilities to more talented people. Now, 2 of the best entrepreneurs I've met in my life, one of them is Fred Smith, who was the founder of Federal Express. It's a major delivery service in the US. And the other was Chairman Ren of Huawei, who I recently met at his headquarters in Shenzhen. Each of them has the self-awareness and the humility that allows their companies to grow and to prosper. Both of them are dedicated to building long-term value as their life work. And both have earned the admiration of their employees mainly by treating them with respect. So I encourage the entrepreneurs in the audience to think of themselves not as company owners, but as company employees. This leads to healthy and respectful relationships with your coworkers, who will see you as a modest and fair-minded leader. And that is the true path to success. Okay, now I want to talk about innovation. I'd like to explain how to find the ideas that create the biggest opportunities, at least in my experience. You may be tempted to start another bike rental company or a food delivery service because that's what you see all around you. Or maybe that's what people want to invest in, what investors are interested in. But I've found that the best opportunities occur when fundamental technological shifts happen and as new ones emerge. Now, this may be as simple as a new type of flat screen, as it was with tablet computers for me, or some new radio spectrum, as is the case today with 5G. But often, it's larger than that. Now, the three new technologies that I think are most likely to change the world and to create the biggest opportunities for entrepreneurs are genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and cognitive neuroscience. Now, genetic engineering is going to allow us to extend our lives, to find new cures for ailments, and to improve plants and animals to resist disease. It'll help us to combat climate change and to feed millions of hungry people. Cognitive neuroscience will help us to unlock the secrets of our own brains. It will deepen our understanding of the human mind, help us to learn more quickly, and permit new forms of communication, among other advances. Artificial intelligence, my field, will change, well, just about everything. It will make possible new kinds of products and services that people could only dream about until now. Now, since my field of expertise is artificial intelligence, I'd like to mention just two of the ways in which it will change the world. The first is that AI makes possible a new generation of flexible robots that can work safely in human spaces. With a few exceptions, today's robots are confined to factories, where they perform simple and repetitive operations. And the reason for that is that most of our machines can't sense their environment or adapt to changes, so they can only work in very carefully controlled settings. But using artificial intelligence, we can now give our robots the equivalent of eyes and ears, so they can sense and interact with their surroundings, more like the way that people and animals do. Now, these new flexible robots will be able to work in real-world environments alongside people because they can adapt to what is happening around them. In transportation, manufacturing, and construction are just a few of the industries that will be transformed by flexible robotics. Now, self-driving cars, whoops. Can we start the video? If you can click on that. This worked yesterday. It's not working today. Okay. Self-driving cars are one of the first examples of robots. But self-driving cars are only one example. In this video, you can see the human's view at the left and what the car sees at the right. Now, you'll notice how after this human gets out, the car waits for people to cross the street. And then it goes and it parks itself. Now, this new wave of flexible robotics will change manufacturing. Consider the way our automated factories operate today. If a component part is not where it is supposed to be at exactly the right time, the result could be catastrophic. The reason for this is simple. Most of our machines cannot sense their environment, and they can't adapt to changes. But flexible robots that can sense their environment can be used in warehouses and factories in new ways. Manufacturing can be far more complex and intertwined than a human can easily understand. For instance, in a car factory, each car could be assembled differently, depending on the location of parts and the availability of various kinds of tools and sensors. A factory managed by an AI program can use flexible robots to roam around, bringing just the right part and the tool to the right location at the right time. If there's a problem or a bottleneck with one item, work on other items can continue independently. This same advantage will change the way we warehouse and ship products. consider the way Amazon, the largest electronic retailer in the United States, perhaps not as big as Alibaba, but Amazon constantly adopts the stock patterns in its warehouses. Now, in a typical warehouse, identical items are stored together. So when you need to find something, you know where it is. But in the latest Amazon warehouses, items may be located alongside others that are more frequently shipped with them. Now, to the human eye, it looks like chaos. Products of different sizes and shapes are stacked randomly everywhere. But a computer system using artificial intelligence directs an army of these flexible robots to fill orders far more quickly and efficiently, as you can see in the video. This can be much more efficient if you get the human workers out of the way. Now, flexible robots will also be very useful in construction work. So another interesting application is, as you see in this video, new machines that can sense their environment can properly position bricks to build walls with great speed and precision. But AI is not just about robots. The applications of AI that may have the greatest impact on our lives is called augmented reality. Augmented reality is a fancy name for eyeglasses that can display semi-transparent images over what you're looking at. Now, these systems scan your environment to build a local map and track the position of your head. Augmented reality is going to enable a new generation of games that integrate with objects that are around you. This particular example is a demonstration from Microsoft of a headset that overlays special graphics on top of real objects in the room around you. You'll notice how the graphics integrate with the walls, and they crawl over the real furniture. So it's quite scary. Not in my house. I don't want one of these. But games are just the start. In combination with advances in computing devices, augmented reality will turn our electronic devices into trusted and essential personal assistants, helping us throughout the day. Let me take a few minutes to speculate on what such devices might be like and what they might do for us. Unlike today's computers and smartphones that require us to divert our attention and focus on them, the future technologies will be invisible and unobtrusive, except to the user, of course. We'll be wearing tiny wireless earphones and transparent eyeglasses, or perhaps even contact lenses directly into our eyes. And instead of interfering with our ability to talk and to listen and to see, as today's devices do, these new devices will improve the way we communicate and interact with our environment. The new generation of sound interfaces, like today's devices, will provide helpful information like driving directions and alert you to email and text messages that you may be receiving. We're all used to that. But in addition, they may act as electronic personal assistants whispering into your ear. They might say things like, "Don't forget to take your keys with you. They're under a napkin on the lunch table. It's been 3 days since you did something nice for your wife. Your blood pressure is a little high. You should take a walk this afternoon." Now, your eyeglasses or contact lenses will also be amazing. Imagine that you're at a business event like this one, and as you approach each person, their name and their affiliation pops up in your eyes as though they were wearing a large name tag. Now, for friends or people you might want to become friends with, some common interests or suggestions for things to say might appear. She likes to ride bikes. His daughter Wang Mi is in your daughter's class at school. Or thank this person for the birthday greeting that they sent you last year. I could definitely use a product like this. Soon, our own devices may be teaching us to play tennis by showing us where the ball is heading, connecting us with a nearby friend who's eating lunch alone, or maybe even giving us advice on our love life. Finally, I'd like to talk about what the Chinese government can do to better prepare for the coming AI revolution. China is in an excellent position to be the world leader in this field. One of China's big advantages is its ability to establish national priorities and align everyone around those goals, as we're seeing at this important summit. As you may know, modern artificial intelligence relies on finding patterns in very large collections of data. Finding these patterns is called machine learning. And because China is so large, it will have much bigger pools of information with which to train machine learning algorithms. Now, this means that companies and the government may accelerate the use of artificial intelligence by developing ways to share this data much more widely. Aggregating huge mega databases for use by AI programs is one way that China can ensure that it puts this strategic advantage to its best use. The Chinese government can also help in another way. Mr. Mayor? It can provide infrastructure and regulations that will smooth the path for companies to test and deploy AI-based applications. Many existing regulations were not designed for the world of the future. So traffic laws may need to be changed to accommodate self-driving cars and automated taxis. In the future, sidewalks may be partitioned so that delivery robots don't interfere with human foot traffic. And rules may be needed to control when and how AI programs are allowed to enter into contracts on your behalf. Now, since I have limited time today, I'm going to stop here to sum up. I've presented some advice to new entrepreneurs in the audience. Good luck to you. Start with the idea, not with the company. Your primary motivation should be the desire to change the world, not your wish to start a company or your desire to get rich. You should recognize that as your company grows, different skills are needed, and your role is likely to change. So be ready to give up responsibilities as your company matures. Hire people that are better than you are. Don't just hire your friends or hire people that you think aren't going to challenge you. Those are mistakes. And lastly, treat everyone with respect and know your own limitations. No one follows a leader whose attitude is me first. Always share credit for your company's success with the people who were essential to that success. Then I turn to the question of how to find a good idea. And my advice is to look for emerging fundamental technologies and think about what sorts of new products and services those technologies may enable. If you really want to make a difference in the world, don't copy your neighbor. Invent your own future. Then I talked about artificial intelligence, because I believe the future will be very bright because of artificial intelligence. In the short run, a new generation of flexible robots will take over routine or difficult work that is now performed by humans in factories and warehouses and in homes and public spaces. And in combination with new and less obtrusive computing devices, AI will power intelligent assistants to help us navigate an increasingly complex world using augmented reality. finally, I offered some advice to government officials about how they might best facilitate artificial intelligence. Data is the key, as well as changing regulations to permit new uses for public resources and facilities. But in the end, life is all about people, not machines. How new technology is put to use is up to you. And I look forward to seeing all the innovative ways that Chinese entrepreneurs, with the help of governments such as that in Jiaxing, will make use of new technology to build a better world. 谢谢。
谢谢。Thank you for a great speech. Thank you. 谢谢杰瑞·凯普兰先生。那刚才我觉得这堂演讲应该更像是一堂生动的。